If you wanna be crypto savvy, we can help you skip those valleys. Let's rally, yeah. If you wanna be crypto savvy,
Welcome back to Be Crypto Savvy. It's Friday. We made it to the weekend, everybody. Congratulations. Only a few more hours to go. Today, we're going to be jumping into the Genie range report for Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as a couple things here in TradingView. First, it'll be a overall pretty quick video, as I have been a little under the weather the past 24 to 48 hours or so. So getting this video in for you before the weekend, and then the plan is to get one or two more videos out throughout the weekend as well. So jumping into this, looking at Bitcoin here, we are on the daily time frame. You can see within the past couple of days, we've retested that $30,000 level, which we were looking at doing and had mentioned over the past video or two. Now, I'm going to be honest. There's some things happening in the macro picture that are going to make it a little hard to, kind of be able to predict and see what we think is going to happen with Bitcoin. We do have some data coming out. We've got the personal spending month over month, personal income month over month, and core PCE. As well, going into next week, we've got the job openings data, as well as federal press conference and the interest rate decision, which comes within 5 days and 3 hours. So we know that we're going to get a 0.25. Let's just assume that's going to happen, and we'll allow ourselves to assume that it'll happen, mostly because they literally told us that's what's going to happen. So we'll just go with that. Now, back here is when we had the last Fed meeting, and I would have expected to see Bitcoin and other assets really across markets, pull back a little bit more, and there is still time to see that. I honestly would have expected to see us kind of come in around $26,500, kind of somewhere in this range going into the Fed meeting, which again, we do still have time to see that happen. Although there are some things that are playing out in the macro picture that have proved, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, to be positive news. And as negative as banks failing is, Bitcoin really did seem to, take that in stride and really moved forward in a positive direction, as banks like Silicon Valley. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think we've seen the entire shit show, if I'm being perfectly frank with you. This is from Predator, calling it now. First Republic Bank is likely to enter FDIC receivership by Monday. When I say FDI receivership, I mean the same thing that happened to Signature and SVB. The bank fails and the FDIC takes control. So long story short, we haven't seen the end of this. We've still got banks failing. We've got record sets or record amounts of debt out there personally and for countries as well, China, United States, UK, etc. So with all that being said, the last time we had banks falling apart like this, Bitcoin exceeded expectations very, very well. So it will be very interesting to see what happens over the next week. I personally wouldn't be trading in and out with Bitcoin in this kind of environment. I think there's better options out there personally for those kinds of trades. But as far as TradingView, I'm going to cut it here and move on into the Genie range report to try and keep this a little short for you. Again, not feeling super great today. Now, the news and events section has a lot of updated news articles in here, so I'm not really going to spend any time in here. Just as always, you can click on all these, and that helps you really stay up to date in the bigger macro picture. A lot of these articles are centered around Bitcoin, but let's be honest, crypto market in general is centered around Bitcoin. So when we move down to the ticker, you can see Bitcoin is currently trading just above $29,000 at the time of recording. Looking at the volatility forecast, opportunity zone, and relative value, there are some peaks and valleys here. Ultimately, though, this looks like a relatively neutral week moving ahead over the next 7 days, which means we probably found that level that we're going to be at going into the Fed meeting of comfortability. Moving on down to the Bitcoin hourly RSI, very neutral. We've seen a huge drop, and then we've kind of just come right back up and been meandering in that middle section. the daily RSI, we were bringing that down to the 30 like we were hoping to do, although over the past few days that has seen an increase back up above 50. The Bitcoin MACD has curled around at the bottom, and we should probably see that bullish cross here within the next probably 24 hours, I'd say. On the stochastic, we are getting a slightly different signal as we are almost into that overbought territory, which would indicate a possible, chopping sideways action or even a possible price decrease. Moving down to the average price, you can see that we had that pretty substantial pullback, have been trying to reclaim that price ever since. On balance volume had dropped pretty substantially and climbed right back up. This is something really important to pay attention to, especially right now. I know a lot of folks are really under the impression that we're in this bull market, and I'm still in the camp that this is just a bull run within the bear market, and the volume indicator tells me otherwise. Average directional movement index has come back down to 25, which is the absolute lowest reading of a trend over the past 30 days. It is pretty interesting as well to see the price move exceedingly higher while this had dropped all the way back down to, the bare minimum of a trend reading. Ultimate oscillator at 50 has been very neutral over the past couple of weeks. Bitcoin parabolic stop and reversal printed its fourth straight buy dot underneath our candles. Fibonacci retracement, we're not going to jump into too much today. Hikaki, we have still seen our last strong bear confirmation back here on the 26th of March, which is pretty interesting because, a month later that we had that strong bear confirmation, we really still haven't even seen prices any lower than we were at that point. Looking at the Kopach curve, we have crossed that zero line, which is a good sign if you're looking for a possible strong move to the upside. If this thing ends up curling around and pops through like you can see back here, where we had that strong move to the upside, you can see this was on March 12th, and it peaked out here on March 23rd. So if we look over on our trading view, you can see that this candle right here is March 12th, and then the 23rd is this green candle right here. So if we go and measure that move, even if we go top of the candle to the bottom of the candle, that's still over 23% of a move within this flash signal through the Kopach curve. Now, on the flip side of that coin, just because we're down into this area doesn't mean that we have to come up over that zero line. If you flip this opposite and we were coming from the downside here, we could do the same thing where once we get back to that zero line, we kind of bounce around a little bit before dropping down slightly and making a smaller move. So just keep that in mind as well. Over on the historical, you can see the Bitcoin prediction model is still above 90% accuracy. And let's go ahead and jump into the Ethereum side of things. Oh, before I forget, at the time of recording, Ethereum is trading at $1,888. Looking at the volatility forecast, opportunity zone, and relative value, you can see that Ethereum looks like it might be expecting a very slight pullback over the next 7 days, although the relative value is still pretty smack dab right in the middle of that opportunity zone, which is a great place to see that. Moving on down to the hourly RSI, pretty similar to Bitcoin. We saw that same huge drop when we got that $2,000 or so pullback a couple days ago. And ever since, we've been putting in slightly higher highs and higher lows. And moving over to the daily RSI over 30 days, we had seen that pullback moving closer to the 30 line, which we were hoping for, although we did get a little bit of a reversal, have been seeing some slightly higher highs and higher lows over here. On the Ethereum MACD, we saw that bearish cross back on the 19th of April and have been seeing that pullback. And honestly, probably 2 or 3 days away from seeing this flip to a bullish cross. Over on the stochastic, we did see that bullish cross back here in between the about the 23rd of April. We saw that cross and are about midway up in that stochastic. So we still have quite a bit more room to go on the stochastic indicator than we did on Bitcoin. If we look at the average price indicator, we did see that pullback, but have been slowly trying to recoup some of those losses. The on-balance volume looks pretty interesting. We have seen a lot of choppy sideways action, ultimately still moving to the downside, however. Same thing as Bitcoin. There had been quite a bit even stacked up before that. We can only see back the 30 days. Looking at the average directional movement index, we have pulled beneath that 25 line, which isn't a promising look. The ultimate oscillator has moved back into that neutralish territory after seeing that pretty big pullback. Parabolic stop and reversal has now printed 2 buy dots in a row after flip-flopping the last couple days previously from buy to sell, and then we've seen those 2 buy dots on that stop and reversal. The Fibonacci retracement, we're going to let this play out a little bit. And the Hikaki, the last thing we had seen was a bear confirmation back here on the 18th of April. And as far as the Kopot curve, pretty similar to Bitcoin as well. We've crossed that zero line with authority, and now we are going to wait to see if we come up with the same kind of authority with a bullish movement, or if we're going to move back up slowly and kind of chop around like we were pointing out over on the Bitcoin chart. If we look down at the historical, the Ethereum side of things is killing it at over 95% accuracy. Wow, that's amazing. Speaking of amazing accuracy, if you're interested in this Genie Range report, there's actually a link in the description that gives you a 2-week free trial, as well as 10% off the already low price of only $20 per month thereafter, which actually grandfathers you into that price point through November for the current report, but also all the updates that are very soon to be coming out. Not only are they going to have Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they're also adding in a bunch of top tier coins. They're adding in more indicators within the report and exchange rating within the report. And the personal favorite that I'm looking forward to is currently this report updates every 24 hours, but they're working on a fast twitch model that would update every 6 hours. So big things on the horizon. I'm going to cut the video. Again, not feeling super awesome today, so I appreciate you folks hanging out, and make sure to check out our videos over the weekend here at Be Crypto Savvy. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Enjoy your weekend.